Okay, so I've had some questions about Respondus Lockdown Browser and also Respondus Monitor. So I just wanted to do a quick integrity recording, hopefully allowing you guys to kind of get a little bit better of an explanation about what goes on with Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor, and hopefully this kind of clears up some of the confusion. First up here, you need to understand that Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor are actually two different software programs. The Respondus Lockdown browser functions like basic web browser essentially, except it limits some of the functionality of your computer when you utilize that browser. And I'll try my best to show you that here on my own computer here in a couple minutes. But we're going to try and utilize Lockdown browser at least for your first syllabus quiz, so everybody I know at least has access to that software, and you can kind of get a feel for it. Essentially what Lockdown Browser does is it locks down your ability to be able to do most other functions on your computer during the time that you have that browser open. The Lockdown Browser with Monitor is actually a software that allows you, the monitor part at least, allows you to be monitored during the time that you choose to take an exam, for instance. So if you listen to my introductory lecture, you heard that you had the ability to take exams potentially from home. So what Respondus Monitor does is it utilizes the webcam. So you have to have a webcam in order to use the monitor software, but it will literally monitor you or record you during the time that you're taking your exam. So, like I said, two different software programs, kind of utilizing one for the syllabus quiz. The other has the potential to be used for you to take an exam from home. However, please keep in mind, I think I pointed this out in the syllabus and maybe also in my introductory recording, that you have to take your final exam in person. So by all means, you have to do that one in person. So let me try and see if we can get this situated. First up, just to kind of remind you guys, if you want more information about this, please go underneath course materials here, and you'll see once again there's an area within Blackboard called Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor Information, and you can see there's a video explaining some of this stuff. There'll also be a quick start guide in PDF format you can download. You can run a quick compatibility test to see if your browser and computer are up to par, and then you do have to download Lockdown Browser. And by downloading Lockdown Browser, really both software programs come bundled with that, and it's basically like downloading Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox if you use a different browser than the one that your computer came with. So it's just basically an alternative browser, essentially. And then you also have some best practices, some suggestions for utilizing Lockdown Browser. In any case, hopefully this keeps recording, but I have already installed Lockdown Browser here. So as you can see here, I have now exited my normal browser, and Lockdown Browser has actually come up here, and it takes you directly to the Delgado homepage where you can log in. Now, as you see, there's some differences here. I'm going to close this out real quickly here. We'll quit that and come back here to the integrity recording. And now if you look, you can see I have apps over here in my dock on the left hand side, similar to the start column if you were using a PC or Windows-based PC operating software, but I'm on my Mac. But you have that dock, and here with the regular Safari browser, I've got forward and back buttons and refresh and all these different options that I could do. So obviously, if I was doing a quiz from this normal web browser, I could access all of that. But if we go back into the Lockdown Browser here very quickly, what you'll be able to see is that Lockdown Browser kind of limits that. If I scroll over here to the left, my dock no longer pops up. I don't have all the options that I normally would have. I don't have a address bar to put in different addresses and things like that. The only thing that I can do from Respondus Lockdown Browser is log in to my Blackboard course site. So you would come in, you would log in. We'll give this a couple minutes, it loads. You obviously don't want to, if you're doing a quiz, you don't want to use any of these forward and back buttons, that type of stuff. You want to be able to, obviously, like I said, go ahead and utilize any of the other components of the internet. You see there's no web address, so I can't type in or go to Google or anything like that. I'm essentially locked down into this one browser window. So in order to access the quiz, you would go to your section, which is 252W02. You would navigate then to quizzes. All right, and as you see here, this first quiz requires Respondus LockDown browser, so you would click that. And then it opens, and now you have the ability to access the quiz. You could click begin, and it plugs in a password for you, and you can see there's some basic information here. So that is how you could access that first syllabus quiz. Now once you got done, you would obviously submit the quiz, but you can see here it says do not close the browser. I'm about to close out. It says do not close the browser until the exam is complete. Your instructor will be notified if you exit the exam early. So it lets me know if you exit, but you should go ahead and complete it. I'm just closing it out for the purposes of navigating away from LockDown browser. So we'll get all this, and I'll just throw in some numbers or letters here so it'll let me out. And now I'm out of Respondus LockDown browser. So that is how you can access the LockDown browser, at least rather the quiz via LockDown browser. Now I'll very quickly go back in to LockDown browser here. Sorry. And we'll get back into LockDown browser just very quickly here. I want to show you something. If we log back in, and this would be when you come to utilize your Respondus monitor, if you should so choose to do your exams at home that way. What you would do is first you would basically log back in, once again in the Blackboard, and we'll go back to your section here. You don't have this currently available. I'm going to turn off my edit mode so it'll look more like what you would see. But what you would have to do, there will be a new link over here on the left-hand side that would probably say online testing or online exam, and you would have to navigate into that section similar to what you did in order to get to the online quiz. And once in there, you will actually see, and let's just go ahead and pop this up here, you'll see webcam. So with the webcam, you can actually test and see what the camera is capable of seeing. So I'll just hit that very quickly. You can do a quick webcam check, which is useful because you definitely want to make sure that your webcam and microphone are both working properly, because if they're not, you can't utilize the monitor software. It records not only video but also sound, so I'll do a little webcam check. You have to go through some privacy agreements and that type of stuff. To allow, we'll click allow. And we'll click remember so that it doesn't. And now we'll go close. And it should pull up my webcam there. You can see a little picture of my office. And we'll just click yes. And things of that nature you continue to see until you basically turn off the webcam. So you do have to have webcam access for that. Like I said, it records sound and also video, and you have to leave it on during the course of your test at home. So a little bit about that. You would have to do all of that prior to beginning the exam. It prompts you, as you saw me kind of go through right there. But definitely, if you want to utilize that monitor software, you might just want to go ahead and I can maybe, if anybody is interested, go ahead and maybe put together some type of just maybe fake test or practice test so that you can go ahead and go in and try and make sure that everything is actually functioning correctly on your end, so that way when you go to actually use the monitor, hopefully we don't run into as many hang-ups as we normally do. In any case, hopefully that kind of helps explain what the Respondus LockDown browser and monitor is. As I kind of told you guys with the first quiz, you absolutely have to utilize Respondus LockDown browser, excuse me. The monitor, once again, is an optional thing that you can utilize if you wish to take your exams from home. So please email me with any questions that you may have.